Mark Schlereth is on the call this weekend. Dolphins are in Carolina to take on the Panthers. That, of course, means that Fox has the call, 1 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. Mark, always good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us here. Your impression so far, you have not seen the Dolphins up close yet. You'll have the opportunity this weekend. Your impression of the Dolphins so far from afar?
Yeah, I'm busy right now in the middle of grinding through tape and looking at the Dolphins a little bit, and um there's a lot of things. I mean, if you want to start, where do you want to start? Offense, defense? What do you what? Pick your pleasure.
You know what? Let's start on the defensive side, which I don't know if they've been historically bad, but they've been really bad to start the season.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that I would look at. Number one, um, not doing a very good job of setting edges on defense, right? You want to set the edge, you want to turn it back into the pursuit, all those different things. That has not been a strong suit for the of the film that I've watched so far. So really having a tough time holding the point on the edge. So they're getting moved out further than they want to go, and the cutback lanes have been established, or at least you can take them off the ball at the point of attack and attack that kind of C D gap area with your run game. The other point is, for me, anything in gap, like a gap type of system where you've got a double team over the guard and tackle over the three technique, and they have been getting washed two or three gaps beyond where they're supposed to be. So one, they're getting pile driven into the rest of the defense, pile driven into the back end, or excuse me, into the linebacker on that side. And so you're not getting pursuit from that side. So getting washed way too far inside. And then as far as defending kind of a zone run, man, they get like from the standpoint of being able to just hold your point, they get moved and they get moved in the run game on all levels. So they've not been good at all in that realm of football. So and when you can't hold a point, when you can't set an edge, when you can't, defeat a double team and hold a double team so linebackers can flow and linebackers can cut through and do all those things, and then obviously that puts so much stress on that back end of, as far as coming up in run support, making tackles, and basically playing complementary kind of team defense. So it all starts there. It all opens up the play action and all the different things that they've struggled with defending. But really, it starts to me up front, not being able to defeat double teams, not being able to hold your point in the run game, and not being able to set edges. So other than that, they've been great. Like all three of those things have been a real struggle for them.
On the offensive side, what has changed the last few years? I mean, you and I talked a couple years ago. I think it was right before the game that the Dolphins faced the Broncos. Very infamously, they scored 70 points against them.
Right.
This Dolphin team, I mean, and we'll get to the minus Tyreek effect in a second here, but even for the last year plus, they don't throw the ball down the field anymore. What's changed?
Yeah, you know what? It's been interesting. Like when you look at them, 1st and 10, 2nd down and 5. You're kind of your base offense, 1st and 10 and 2nd down and 5 minus was how I always kind of look at things. Okay, what are you in those things? Then what are you in 2nd down and long situations? What are you in 3rd down and 3 minus, 3rd down and 4 to 6, and then 3rd down and 7 plus? And when you look at them, their whole offense is structured on we're speed and we're quick. Let's get to the edges of the perimeter of the defense. Let's throw it out there in the flats. Let's get the ball out of our quarterback's hands. I think one of the things, and obviously this comes down to protection, when Tua is on time and his feet are not disturbed, he's really accurate. In the quick game, he's really accurate. When he is off schedule or when he is forced to move off his spot and you're trying to push the ball down the field more, he's been woefully inadequate. He has not been very good pushing the ball when he's got to slide or manipulate the pocket. Like when you're really good, the great quarterbacks we think about the Tom Brady's and everything else, they had the ability to be in the pocket and not actually have the rush affect them, to feel it, to slide side to side, and to still be able to push the ball down the field. When he is off, when he gets off his spot and his feet are forced to move, He's just become woefully inadequate or woefully inaccurate. And so I think what part of the plan is, hey man, let's get it to the edges, let's get out of his ball, let's get the ball out of his hands before he has an opportunity to get a pass rush on him. And so everything has been underneath. Like you watch them 1st and 10, and like I said, second down and 5 minus. I can't believe the number of just screens, bubble screens, smoke screens, throw it out to the flat. Like, how can we design? And it's a lot of cool ball handling. There's a lot of really cool ball handling. But the other thing that does, and you'll hear a broadcaster say this, you hear people say this all the time, and you hear offensive coordinators say this. Well, that's an extension of our running game. Baloney. That doesn't wear anybody out. That doesn't like what the one thing that I go back to kind of a Bill Walshism, if you will. Bill Walsh said the key to winning football games, or one of the major keys to winning football games, is wearing out the defense so they can't rush your quarterback in the fourth quarter. And all that baloney of throwing it out there and doing this and the screens and the bubble screens are an extension of the running game is garbage because it doesn't wear anybody out. You don't have guys on the ground. You don't have guys licking their wound. You don't have guys, facing double teams and getting pile driven. It's just not happening. So I don't think they're great up front. And I just am not a big fan of everything thrown to the edges. And let's hope we break a tackle on a corner and take one, for 25 yards, because that's our explosive passing game. And that to me is not a recipe for success.
What are your impressions right now of Mike McDaniel? He came into the season, like the whole conversation around the Dolphins was they need a culture change. Does he have control of the team? And then the team starts out 0-3. Like I thought if they got smoked in Buffalo last week, which they didn't, they were competitive. I thought McDaniel's job could have been on the line that game. What have you made of Mike McDaniel?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is you talk about culture change, and I've read reports that guys have been consistently late and this, that, and the other. And, um, I always talk about in the organizations that I played in, there's two types of fear. There's the biblical fear, which is awesome reverence and respect. And then there's just the flat out fear this guy will cut my ass in a heartbeat if I don't do what I'm supposed to do. And if you have guys late and guys missing things, um, that's a lack of organizational control. And your head coach has got to put his foot down. And it's not about $100 fine or $1,000 fine. Guys don't care. In my day, that might have made a difference. They don't care today. That doesn't affect them. So it's got to be something that's a little bit more substantial than that. And the bottom line is you got to take away recess. You can't let guys play. And you got to hold guys accountable. And last year, and I've made fun of Mike McDaniel's, a bunch for this. Um, like who would have thought that starting meetings at 24 after the hour, if that doesn't work, there's no solution. There's no, I mean, if I'm in that locker room, we're going to go. We haven't won a playoff game in 24 years, so we're starting the meetings at 24 after the hour. I would have just, I'd been like, you got to be kidding me, really? Like this is what we're going to do? That to me is absolute. It's garbage. It's silly. It's like I want to be treated like I want to be treated like a full grown ass man, and I expect you to hold the team accountable. And the one thing about, especially when it comes to the position I played, offensive line, if you're not holding everybody to a standard and you're letting other guys get away with stuff, um, it just is. I just lose. I'll lose complete and total respect for you as a coach. And
What
I'm not there, so I don't know. I don't know if that's the case or not. But that's just. I'm just telling you how I would feel.
as a former player, how does the locker room handle? I mean, look, the team's 1-3, so but they are coming off their first win of the season, so you feel good about that. But what happens in that locker room where everybody realizes, oh shit, like Tyreek's done, he's not going to play again this year? Like, how do you keep your head together?
Yeah, it's tough, obviously, and that was a brutal, man. I was watching the film and I try not to look at that stuff, and it caught me off guard because I caught it, and I mean his leg is backwards.
Mhm.
It just is disgusting. Um, and I feel for the guy, and you rally around. I mean, I think one of the things that that can do for you. Obviously, it's gruesome, but there's part of me too that says, man, we can't rely. Tyreek ain't going to make 15 big plays and bail us out of games like they have in the past. Um, we're actually going to have to be better. We're going to have to be more dialed into what we're doing. We don't have that one dude that can catch it behind the line of scrimmage and break 3 tackles and then give you a house call. Like he's no longer.
I lost your audio.
Sorry
I
about
lost
that.
your
You
There you
good?
go.
I
Yeah,
got a
yeah.
phone call that came in. I apologize.
You could. I'll pick it up from right here. Mark, give me your thoughts here. We haven't seen very much of the Panthers, though. Bryce Young, what have you seen from him? Does he look like he's improving from last year?
Oh, he's definitely improved. I mean, like Bryce is pretty good at deciphering what you're in defensively, and being able to exploit some of those things. Really good on both edges, like boot out right, boot out left. He's really good at running to his left, opening up his shoulders, squaring them up, and throwing accurately. All that stuff. Struggles like all shorter, smaller quarterbacks in the pocket. If you get pressure in his face, that's always a troubling fact for him. I think the biggest thing is they just don't have anybody that I would consider threatening. I always look at it from a defensive standpoint. Like I would look at your guys' edges right now on defense, and I would say, does anybody frighten me in a one-on-one situation? Does Chubb frighten me anymore about going one on one with my tackle? Does Chop Robinson frighten me going one on one? Does Phillips scare me going one on one? And my answer to you would be no. So, as an offensive kind of player, I would look at your defense and say, there is nobody that threatens me from a pass rushing standpoint where I don't feel like I can go 5 1-on-1s, 5-0 protection, and get 5 receivers out, 5 eligibles out. So when you don't have that guy, that's a really bad situation because you don't have anybody that's truly going to affect us, as an offense. So that's a little bit scary. When I look at Carolina, they have that same issue on defense that I think you guys have on defense. But offensively, man, there's not a guy on the perimeter of that offense at the tight end position or at the receiver position that truly frightens you. I think Tedero McMillan, their rookie wide receiver, is going to be a good player.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be, a legitimate pass catching threat. But the rest of the guys going into last weekend, Tedero McMillan had 216 yards receiving. Every other wide receiver combined had 141. That's going into week 4. You just don't have anybody that threatens you on the outside. And so, if you've got one guy, we can take that guy away. We can figure out a way to stifle him. Then it's just like, well, who's going to beat us? And the answer is nobody. So when you sit there and say, hey, Bryce Young, he doesn't look like the guy. I don't think he's going to be the guy. I'm like, how do you evaluate that when you don't really have anybody that can take pressure off of him? Listen, if you don't have the guy at quarterback, you got to have great, like you can still win with great weapons around him. If you got the dude at quarterback, I don't need to invest big money in wide receivers. I can say, hey, man, those guys, as long as I get good ones, from a scheme standpoint, we can scheme guys open and we can win football games. I just don't think they have anybody that really threatens you. And you look at going into last weekend, Chuba Hubbard, who I think is an outstanding back. 798 lifetime carries. He's got the longest run from scrimmages, 38 yards.
Wow.
He's not Achan. He's not gonna take one to the house from 80 like that. He'll get run down. But I think he's an outstanding back. But there's not that threat of just being like, oh shoot, what are we gonna do? If this guy gets loose, we're in deep trouble. If Chuba gets loose, you're gonna tackle him for a 30-yard gain, and you're gonna go, all right, we'll live with that one.
You'll hear Mark on the call, 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. Panthers, Dolphins. Mark, before I let you go here, I'm going to leave you with a silly question, something I've been talking about recently because I'm sure you have noticed the defensive players, they're all punching at the ball this year. creating fumbles. Like, we're seeing it more this year, I feel like, than we've seen in the past. Should the players be allowed to punch the ball? Because I feel like if you miss the ball and you're just punching a player instead of tackling him, like, do you think, is that okay?
Hey, it's okay with me, but like I played in a time where there was some frontier justice in the league. I get pissed watching guys just take it, the way we do the defense. Like, hey man, we'll change the rules to make it more offensive friendly, but it's like the tush push, like the tush push. Like I love the play. I think it's a great play, but you can do that on offense. On PAT field goal, you can't push a guy through the line of scrimmage. So how come that's illegal under the guise of player safety? How come that's illegal on the defensive side of the ball, but on the offensive side of the ball, it's hunky dory. We're good. I get like that stuff bothers me. So punching, hey, if you accidentally catch someone in the jaw, that's that. Hey, them's the breaks. That's the way it works.
Excellent job, Mark. Always good catching up with you. Thanks a lot for hanging out.
You got his ass. Take care, buddy.